Hello, everyone. Welcome to my show, Content with Komal. And today we are going to talk about digital trends and innovation, and especially artificial intelligence and how it is going to transform, or how it is already transforming businesses and customer experiences. Today, I have with me Yanang, who is the business developer at Persado, and he is going to tell me and talk about how artificial intelligence is impacting customer experiences. So, hi, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me.
So how do you think, we keep hearing these buzzwords, artificial intelligence and machine learning and predictive analysis, and we know that with marketing evolving and it's getting more digital, so to say, and we are always trying to improve customer experiences and the interactions it has with a business and a brand. So how do you think it is impacting now, in terms of AI applications being used in businesses and marketing?
So I agree with you that AI is the buzzword, and I do feel that it is kind of a term that is mostly misused most of the time.
Yeah.
The way I rather look at it is like the big change in technology and marketing is that there is a lot of data, much more data than before,
Yeah.
and there are every day more innovative uses of how you use that data. So I rather say most of the technology that you see today are applications of those, whereas true AI will be a different step, right? It's kind of a very specific way of handling data and have as you said, I think predictive analysis is what AI kind of comes in.
Yeah.
Rather as analysis, it's more about database and having a lot of analysis. In terms of like specific ways that I see how it affects like customer experience, I think one very example that comes to my mind is the ability for big corporations to capture thousands and thousands of customer paths and understanding and kind of seeing trends that happen and kind of like understand this whole story of what the data is trying to tell you. So I think that is a place where technology and a lot of the vendors that you see in the market have a big influence in terms of capturing all that data and putting it in a way that it's easy for the marketeer to see and capture value points at specific times that make the most impact for your business in terms of revenue and so forth.
Yeah, I think it is kind of, artificial intelligence tools and applications. I think they are kind of a game changer, and in boosting the, ROI and giving you that competitive edge. And as marketeers, we understand that it's like, it gives us roaring headaches trying to understand it, especially if it's large sets of data. And with automation and AI tools, I think what it helps with is to optimize those processes and increase productivity and efficiency, and you kind of not only just speeds up the process but also cuts down on the drudgery of the work, so to say, the repetitive tasks.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's also about creating correlations between several data points, right? So that's where I think predictive analysis comes in. So tell us about Persado. What is Persado? What does it do?
So what we do is it's very related to this conversation in the sense that we attack a very specific part of the marketing kind of world, which is language generation. So for anything that is customer related in terms of like a email send or a Facebook ad or a website, there's one of like the key building blocks of that will be the language and the message you're trying to convey. And we try to kind of look at it from a scientific and mathematical perspective. So we will take a piece of communications or a message and try to break it down into the different elements that we consistently observe in marketing language, which are, in a nutshell, there's an emotional component to language that we kind of like tag automatically using our technology. And then there's understanding how things are described, how things are positioned, and then kind of like the stylistic features of it. And all together create a model for language that we can use to generate and optimize communications for different brands around the world. So we work with many clients in the US and also in Europe. And using that kind of scale of data, we kind of understand what are the things that for specific brands work better for their audience, thus increasing their engagement and so on and so forth.
Okay, so what I understand is that AI, the Prasado is an AI marketing language cloud, right? And it helps
Exactly.
with it helps brands with not only just segmenting their customers, but trying to understand based on what sentiments they have and what emotions they have, and then translating them into giving them the right message at the right time to the right customer.
Yes, that is actually very well synthesized. I think in a practical example would be like, for example, we work with a big charity in the US, and they thought, for example, that all of their messages were based on urgency, like creating the urgency to help. Whereas like we kind of like tested out different ways to phrase different offers, and we found like, for example, safety is something that resonated better. And it is kind of like trying to capture these little nuances of language that usually when you have a team of copywriters or a team of actual people, like you will reach these conclusions almost subconsciously, and which you're not aware.
Like guesswork, and but
Exactly.
with tools like AI tools like Prasado, it removes the guesswork and it comes to accurate results in that sense, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's taking the guesswork and turning that into actual like objective assessments of what things work and what things don't work.
Okay, that sounds great. So, I can see on your website that you have clients like Gap and so many. So in terms of e-commerce brands, so how does it help? How does Prasado help? So, for example, let's say Gap has to do some sort of email marketing and
Yeah.
doing the headlines and that sort of thing. So how will Prasado help with that? How will it optimize that?
So Gap is a great example because one of our darling clients that we always mention. It is from an email marketing perspective. For example, they will have scheduled a email campaign for one of their sales next month. And the way we kind of like break out the process, that we get the brief from their from a strategic point of view of what that email is going to look like, and we will take a kind of like a holdout group from their audience for a test send, where we will test different versions of the email containing different both emotional language, descriptive language, and like how you position things. And it's a multivariate test to kind of like get a really good scope on what things work and what don't. And out of those versions, we use our platform to basically generate a best predicted message that will go to the broadcasted to the rest of the audience. And that's where we drive value, because we are, through the test, we are able to reach a lot of really high confidence that the actual send will drive value based on a key KPI. So in the case of Gap, we've done campaigns where we reach significance on the conversion rates. So we will say, we run a test here to test how these different variants act based on conversion rates, and we reach a significance from a mathematical point of view that we then will put on for the rest of the audience, and then drive revenue from that email campaign.
Oh, that sounds great. So it's basically, marketing automation and steroids, and trying to understand the customer and creating those touch points, right?
I mean, you can call it on steroids, but I think given today's environment where you have so much resources and tools and data available,
yeah.
I feel from my point of view that it should become part of a lot of businesses, like standard practice, to start to always leverage that. And if you're not, then you kind of like start to lag behind, and
I think that's the point that I was coming to, really, because I think that in 2009 and beyond, I think it's all about customer-driven marketing. And
Yes.
if we can optimize that with artificial intelligence tools and applications and machine learning and big data, predictive analysis, we need to embrace these technologies, as marketers and as businesses. So thank you so much for coming on my show. And to the audience, I would like to ask you guys that, do you think as marketers or as employees, is your company embracing AI and it's using AI? Or do you think that it has some kind of AI-driven marketing strategy in place? Do you think it's going to happen in the future? Tell me your views in the comments below, and I'll leave you with that. Thank you. Bye.